Hello everyone, in today's video we are going to be looking at this Tapu Bulu team which got the Legend Katana to expert rank in Master League in Pokemon Go. So the team is Ho-Oh on the lead, which is very weak to Rhyperior, where Tapu Bulu does very well, and then we have Zacian as a safe swap because it is just one of the best safe switches right now in the Master League meta. So let's get into the battles and check out this team in action. So in the first battle, how to beat Rhyperior with your Ho-Oh. We switch out into our Zacian. Here we will go for the play rough. If opponent switches in for too long, we will shield the charge move because it is most likely going to be a rock wrecker, and then we will go for the play rough. Opponent will no shield because it does like 40-50% damage, yeah, 50%, and then we can go for another play rough, forcing either shield or KO. Let's see what opponent decides to do. Opponent is shielding the charge move, so here we can let this move go through, and then we can come in with our Tapu Bulu and farm down this Rhyperior so that we can have a lot of energy loaded on our Tapu Bulu against whatever they have in the back. We will shield the Rock Wrecker and then we will go for the full farm down, and let's see what opponent decides to come in with. Opponent is coming in with his Togekiss. Here we will go for the Nature's Madness. It will get us a defense drop, and then we will switch out into our Rhyperior, and they have a Primarina in the back. Here we will hope that we can survive this Hydro Cannon. I guess in the Master League we can. Okay, we survived the Hydro Cannon, and here we will go for the Brave Bird. Brave Bird one-shots the Primarina, and then they come in with Togekiss, and now we will come in with our own Tapu Bulu. Here we could have thrown Nature's Madness, but this game is over because opponent has a shield and one Nature's Madness does not KO. I guess after the debuff it can KO, but they will just shield and then win the game. GG's to our opponent. Into the next game, another Rhyperior lead. We will switch out into our Zacian, and opponent is staying in because they will throw one Rock Wrecker and then they will switch out. So we will throw our play rough at the right timing, and this will do nice 50% damage, and their opponent goes for the charge move. So I guess we shield it because it's going to be a Rock Wrecker, and from this range it could have one-shotted our Zacian. We will go for another play rough against this Zacian, and then we will, I guess, go for the wild charge. We will try to go for wild charge. Opponent gets to the charge move. We don't shield it because we can come in with our Ho-Oh and throw incinerates, and we can try to farm it down because I think that Zacian will only get to one wild charge. If it gets to two wild charges, that will be pretty rough. But here Legend Katana is deciding to switch into Tapu Bulu, get some energy advantage, energy lead, and opponent's final Pokemon is Primarina. So opponent is core broken by Tapu Bulu. We will go for the Grass Knot. Grass Knot one-shots the Primarina, and here we will go for the Nature's Madness. It will provide us defense drop, which will help us farm down this Rhyperior, and then we can win the game. So we shield the charge move, and then we can farm down this Rhyperior to win the game. GG's. Into the next match, we have Ho-Oh versus Zacian. Good lead, but it is kind of a neutral lead because Zacian has access to wild charge, and two wild charges will knock out our Ho-Oh. Here we will shield the first wild charge, and then we will go for the Sacred Fire to get the potential attack drop, but opponent caught it on his own Ho-Oh, which is really good for us because now our Tapu Bulu doesn't have to see this Ho-Oh. We can go for the Sacred Fire here, which will at this point will do decent damage. Like, we only need chip damage at this point because we know that opponent is going to shield, and here we will go for another Brave Bird, and we won the CMP tie. This will either force the KO or it will force the second shield. Opponent decided to no shield the charge move and decided to come in with his Zacian. Here we will come in with our own Zacian, and then we will go for the play rough. Play rough will KO. The reason why we are throwing play rough is that we don't want to get ourselves debuffed right now. Here we will shield the wild charge, and then we will go for the play rough. I think it will get no shielded. Yep, it gets no shielded, and his final Pokemon is going to be Yveltal. If Yveltal gets farm down, if Yveltal completely farm downs our Zacian, that will be pretty rough, but we go for the wild charge and we decided to switch. Here we hope that we can survive this Oblivion Wing so that we can through our nature's madness. We survived it, and now we can come in with our Ho-Oh, force Yveltal to throw his energy, and then we can fast move down this Yveltal with our Zacian. Easy win. Not an easy win, but good win. So opponent is throwing his charge move, and then we can come in with our Zacian, farm down his Yveltal and win this game. GG's. Into the next match against Jay the underdog, we have Ho-Oh versus Xerneas. Terrific lead, so we will see opponent switching out into his next second mon, which is going to be Necrozma Dawn Wings. This is a good matchup for our Ho-Oh, that's why we will stay in. We will go for the Sacred Fire. Opponent decided to shield the charge move, and we got the attack drop, which is amazing. Here we will shield the potential Moongeist Beam, which will do massive damage if goes unshielded. Opponent decided to throw Dark Pulse, Dark Pulse bait. So this time we will no shield because it is definitely a Dark Pulse, and then we will go for another Sacred Fire. We don't want to debuff our attacks, debuff our defenses just yet. So opponent can either come into his Xerneas or his final Pokemon, which is going to be a Kyogre. We will switch out into our Zacian, and here we will go for the Wild Charge, which will do massive damage if goes unshielded, but opponent decided to shield. So here we can shield this charge move, but we decided to no shield. A Surf knocks us out, and now we can come in with our Tapu Bulu, and then we will go for the Nature's Madness against Xerneas. It will lower Xerneas' defense, and then we can switch out into our Ho-Oh. We tried to catch the charge move, but opponent didn't throw, and now he is throwing. We can let go of this charge move. It's a close combat. It again debuffs opponent's defenses. That's why we can shield this charge move. It is going to be a Moonblast. It would have put our Tapu Bulu in red health, and now it's going to be a close combat. I think it's too early to be a Moonblast, and then we can farm down this Xerneas. Okay, we are going to throw this Grass Knot, and then we can throw another Grass Knot on that Kyogre to win the game. GG's. Grass Knot one-shots the Kyogre, and we win the game. Into the next match, we have Ho-Oh versus Primarina. If it has Waterfall, it is a bad lead, but it had Charm. That's why opponent decided to switch into his Palkia. We will come in with our Tapu Bulu here. We can survive 2 Aqua Tails pretty easily, but third Aqua Tail might knock us out. We will go for the Nature's Madness. This will potentially get us a defense drop. Yep, it gets us a defense drop, which is amazing. Now we can completely bullet seed down this Palkia, and we can have a lot of energy loaded for that Primarina, which will come in here. Primarina has Charm, that's why they decided to switch here. We can only get to this. We can only get to one Grass Knot, because then we will die to Charm before we can reach another Grass Knot. Opponent's final Pokemon is going to be Kyogre. We can come in with a Zacian, and here we have to throw 3 Wild Charges to win the game, but we will go for the player of 2, get the first shield, and then we will throw back-to-back Wild Charges to win the game. Here we can shield the Surf. Surf will put us in farm down range, and we don't want it. And then we can go for the first Wild Charge, and then we can go for the second Wild Charge to cure the Kyogre, and then we can have our Ho-Oh against that Primarina, I guess. So opponent goes for the Surf, and then we waited a turn to switch into to check if opponent is trying to catch the charge move. He tried to catch the charge move, and we farmed him down with our Ho-Oh, and now we can throw the Brave Bird to win the game. Opponent decided to surrender. GG's. Into the next match, we have Ho-Oh versus Katana. Amazing lead, terrific lead. Opponent comes in with his Primarina. We switch out into our Tapu Bulu here. Tapu Bulu resists waterfall damage, which is amazing for us. Now we can survive one Disarming Voice as well, and then we will build up back-to-back Grass Knots, and then we will go for the first one. This will knock out Primarina if goes unshielded. Opponent decided to no shield, and then we can throw our Nature's Madness to get the defense drop on the Katana here. And I think since Katana is so attack weighted and it has like no, it is like very squishy as well. That's why Nature's Madness also did a lot of damage. Opponent has Palkia in the back. We will go for the Brave Word and then we will switch out into our Zacian, and opponent decided to surrender. GG's. Into the next match, we have Ho-Oh versus Rhyperior. Bad lead, so we will switch out into our Zacian. Opponent will do the same play again. He will go for the Rock Wrecker and then he will switch out. We will shield that Rock Wrecker. It will do massive damage if goes unshielded. And opponent comes in with his Togekiss. Here we will go for the Wild Charge. This Wild Charge will do massive damage if goes unshielded. Opponent is aware of it and that's why he decided to shield. We will go for another Wild Charge and I think opponent won't shield it. At this elo they don't use their second shield, and we will go for another Wild Charge to force the final shield or get the switch. Opponent decided to use his final shield, so we will come in with our Ho-Oh and then we will incinerate down this Togekiss. And then I think we will go for one Brave Word and then we will switch out. Okay, we are switching out right now already. Let's see what opponent decides to come in with. Opponent is coming in with his Rhyperior and we will go for the Grass Knot here. It is a CMP tie, so I guess we can shield it. Maybe if it is a Rock Wrecker, then it's a nice shield, but it was a Breaking Swipe bait and he has a Primarina in the back. We will go for the Grass Knot. Grass Knot will almost knock out this Primarina, and then because we got debuff from Breaking Swipe, that's why it didn't KO. Otherwise it would have KO'd, and that's why we will go for the Nature's Madness. And here we should outpace this Rhyperior to a Grass Knot, and Grass Knot will one-shot this Rhyperior and we will win this game. GG's. So this was a 4-1 just now, which got us to 2740 elo. Now we only need 3-2 to reach expert rank, but Legend Katana gets a 5-0 with this team. So let's look at those battles as well. Into the next match, we have Ho-Oh versus Zacian. Finally, after getting a lot of Rhyperior leads, we have a neutral lead, Zacian. We will go for the Sacred Fire here, and Sacred Fire reduces opponent's Pokemon's attack. That's why we will shield the first Wild Charge, so that after Sacred Fire we can potentially get that attack drop, so that we don't have to use a shield for Wild Charge. Here we didn't get any debuff, but we have to no shield it anyways. We will go for the Brave Word and opponent catches it on his Rhyperior. Here we will have to shield the Wild Charge. We have to shield the Rock Wrecker, but we got to the Grass Knot before him and Grass Knot knocked out his Rhyperior, so opponent will come in with his Yveltal, and here we can go for the Nature's Madness. This will get us a defense drop, and then we can go for another Nature's Madness because Yveltal survives one, or we can actually just no shield it and come in with a Zacian, quick attack it down, and then we can have a lot of energy loaded for the final mon. Opponent's final Zacian. So here we can go for the play rough. I guess if they go for Wild Charge, then we can honestly go for farm down, but opponent decided to throw play rough. Here we will shield this charge move, and then I think we switch out into our Ho-Oh after getting some energy. Okay, we will completely farm it down, and then we will go for back-to-back Wild Charges to knock out opponent's Ho-Oh and win this game. Opponent's Yveltal and win this game. GG's. Into the next match, we have Ho-Oh versus Necrozma. Amazing lead because Fire type does super effective damage to Necrozma. Dusk mains Steel typing. Opponent decided to switch into his Zacian, so we will throw this Brave Word and then we will switch out into our own Zacian. Here we have shield advantage, but opponent's Zacian has energy advantage. We will no shield the Wild Charge, and then we have to start shielding here because we want to win the switch, because that Necrozma does really good against our Tapu Bulu, and we don't want our Tapu Bulu to be stuck against that Necrozma. Here we will go for the Wild Charge. Opponent decided to shield the charge move, so we will shield this charge move as well, and then we will go for another Wild Charge here after getting some energy advantage because opponent just threw his charge move, so we can take that energy advantage. And now opponent comes in with his Necrozma. We will go for the Wild Charge. It will do nice 45% damage, and then opponent's final Pokemon is going to be Palkia, and opponent decided to surrender. GG's. We got another terrific lead with Necrozma Duskmane. We will stay in this matchup, but opponent decided to switch into his Yveltal. Here we will come in with our Zacian, and Zacian has Wild Charge and Play Rough. We will go for the Wild Charge here, and we will hope that this charge move knocks out, but it didn't, so we have to shield our Zacian here because Oblivion Wing will do a lot of damage if goes unshielded, and with the defense drop that Zacian had, it would have definitely knocked out. We will go for the Wild Charge against Necrozma here. It will do nice 45% damage. We will go for another Wild Charge, and at this point it can force a shield from Necrozma. Opponent decided to shield, and we will try to get to another Wild Charge, but opponent throws his charge move. We couldn't have gotten to that Wild Charge anyways, but opponent decided to throw, which is amazing for us. We can come in with our Ho-Oh. Dark Pulse will do like decent damage, but not enough to threaten a shield. Threaten a shield, and then opponent's final Pokemon is going to be Zarude, and we can go for back-to-back Brave Words to win this game. GG's. Into the next match against Chili's FM, fellow YouTube content creator, we have Ho-Oh versus Primarina. Opponent, he decided to switch into his Golisopod, which is not a good Pokemon for Master League. We will come in with our Zacian. Okay, opponent goes for the Liquidation, and it does nice damage. We will go for the Brave Word, forcing a shield, and then we will come in with our Zacian. And here we will no shield this Liquidation, and this is like Golisopod is not good for Master League. I guess he's trying to make a video with Golisopod showing that Golisopod is good for the Master League, I guess, but it just doesn't have the stats. And Zacian is just proving it. We got the defense drop, that's why we have to shield it. But we got 2 shields, and opponent switches out into his Primarina. We will go for the Wild Charge, which will do super effective damage, and we cannot reach another Wild Charge because we got the defense drop. But now we can come in with our Ho-Oh and then farm down this Primarina. We can shield this Hydro Cannon, and then we will go for the Brave Word if he decides to come in with his Golisopod, and his final Pokemon is going to be Rhyperior. So we will switch out into our Tapu Bulu here, and I guess this Rock Wrecker will hurt, but it won't knock out our Tapu Bulu just yet. We will go for the Grass Knot here, which will knock out his Golisopod, and then we will go for another Grass Knot to knock out his Rhyperior. GG's to Chili's FM. Into the final match of this set, we have Ho-Oh versus Rhyperior. Bad lead, so we will do the same thing again. We will come in with our Zacian, and then we will go for our Play Rough. We will shield the Rock Wrecker, and then let's see what happens. That's all I know. So we will go for the Play Rough here. It will not force a shield because it does 50% damage. Rhyperior survives it, and Rhyperior survives it with good HP, so he doesn't have to shield. We will go for another Play Rough. It will force a shield, and here opponent is staying in, so we can let our Zacian go down, and then we can come in with our Tapu Bulu, farm down this Rhyperior, and then we will have a lot of energy loaded against whatever they have in the back. We will go for the Nature's Madness. Okay. It will knock out opponent's Rhyperior, and they have a Primarina in the back, and they decided to use it against Tapu Bulu. Whatever they have in the back is very weak to Tapu Bulu. That's why he's deciding to come in with his Primarina. We will go for the Grass Knot. Grass Knot will almost one shot the Primarina, and his final Pokemon is going to be Kyogre. And they decided to concede the game. GG's to Legend Katana's opponent. And here is his 5-0 with this team. He got 3-2, 4-1 and 5-0. Thanks to the Legend Katana for letting me share these battles. And thanks everyone for watching this video until the end. I will see you in the next one.